Hello and welcome to Journeys and Journals. Bike riding's the name of the game for this show, and my guests, well, let me introduce you to my guests. These are the Eichmans. They come from Roseburg, and well, this is in a different attire than today, entirely a different attire. Meet them, ready for biking.
Hi,
Welcome to Journeys and Journals.
Thank you.
Welcome back, because you've changed. You look like you're serious about this biking stuff. How did it get started?
We started on our journey with changing our lifestyle with our eating, and then we had friends. We just went on a camp out to Diamond Lake, and our friends said, let's just rent bikes and we'll go around the river, around the lake on our bikes.
It's a big lake. How many
Yes.
miles?
11 miles.
Did you think you could do it?
I thought it was going to be pretty hard, but we thought were we by ourselves or were we with our friends?
No, we were
the
by
first time?
ourselves,
We were
yeah.
by ourselves.
And now, how many years since you'd been on a bike?
Yeah.
Oh, since I was 8.
And then you had a Schwinn with a great big wide
yeah.
tire, and now you rented?
We rented the mountain bikes there at the Diamond Lake Resort.
And after you rode around the lake, you
We were
survived.
tired, yeah, but we were so pumped up. Wow, we did it.
Pumped up.
Yeah, pumped up.
You know, I borrowed from Spin Cycle some of these props. This is about the fanciest. Do you have this kind of thing at home?
We actually have one on our bike that's a little one like you
right
have
there.
right there.
Yeah, right there.
And that thing is powerful. That puts a lot of pounds in your tire. We get them up to 110 pounds.
Oh my goodness.
Yeah, you can't do that with a regular tire pump.
Now this one even has a gauge.
Yes.
Because you need this. You've cycled, how many miles is the most that you've cycled in a day?
Oh, we've done 100 miles in a day.
100 miles. That's
Yeah.
from here to Cottage Grove, from here to the border, more than that.
Yeah.
Um,
It's doable.
it's doable.
It's doable. I didn't think it was, but it was.
Well, now you told us before you haven't always been physically fit and
No.
an outdoors person.
No, I had osteoarthritis where I could hardly turn my head, and he had high blood pressure, sleep apnea, and acid reflux. And he was moving pretty slow. We were both moving pretty slow.
So you're a professional man doing
Yeah.
dentistry, and you didn't get much exercise. That's a given.
Yeah, that's about the size of it. As soon as we started feeling a little better, I just surprised her with the mountain. After we did that Diamond Lake trip, I'd mentioned before, on that trip, my knees were so sore, and I was out of shape. I really thought, you know, I'm either going to work through this or I'm an old man and I'll just have to accept my fate. But it was a couple days of biking and the knee thing went away. And I thought, okay, this is a good sign. And it just escalated from there. And that summer we ended up doing 2,000 miles on our bikes.
That very, is this your the bike that
No.
did it?
No, that's an interesting story because we still had our mountain bikes. I went down, it's technology. I think I paid on sale $250 for some nice new bikes at Waldron's. They were great. I still have them, love them. And we started biking with some friends of ours that had the road bikes that are lighter and faster. And we were doing 30, 50-mile day trips with them.
They went on their honeymoon doing bike riding for 700 miles.
And invited you along?
No, this was before we met them, and so they had their mountain bikes. I mean, they had their road bikes, and
You know,
And so they said, we went riding with them and they were faster, and they said, come on, you got to get better bikes. If we're going to do road biking, you've got to get road bikes. And so I went ahead and he said, no, we don't need road bikes.
My old Schwinn is just fine.
I did my first 100 miles on my mountain bike and I loved it. I mean, in some ways I still like that bike. They're very sturdy, very safe.
Well, it's got bigger tires,
But
doesn't it?
I could usually
Yeah, it does.
outpace her. And so she went down with her own money one day and just said, I'm going to do this. Laid out, I won't tell you how much for that bike. And that bike weighs about 21 pounds. And our mountain bikes probably weighed 30. So you pay a lot of money to get 8 or 9 pounds off of a bike.
Well, I was down looking at bikes today because I went to spin cycle so that my chum, who I'd known since, well, way back when, he was showing how in the world these bikes have progressed.
Yeah.
Now, they've got bikes that you sit down and you don't bend over.
Recumbents.
Oh, that's the word that I was looking for. You know, I still think bikes deserve to have a, you know what that
little
is,
motor,
don't you?
yes. Oh, yeah. I grew up in the 50s.
How many of you folks know about, you take a card and you put it on here and oh my, it sounds so powerful, doesn't it? There are lots of things about biking that I remember. I mean, I went on one 50-mile ride out to Williams.
See,
and
you
back.
did it, didn't you?
You did it.
I did, and came back in. We stopped at the ice cream store called Rich Maid Ice Cream, and I slid my bike in right across the gravel. You know what happened next? You've
Skin
got
rash.
pants that, what do you call it?
Well, I guess it's called spandex. So we jokingly say, what are we doing? We're riding our bikes in our underwear. It's kind of the same thing. You're just about as protected as if you're biking in your underwear, see?
Well, now you have naked knees and you don't.
No, these are my spandex. And the thing about these is they're padded in here so that they're more comfortable on your seat.
That's a must.
On your saddle, they call it.
Now, this winter clothes, because you don't just bike during the summer.
No,
right?
all weather. Winter, fog, cold, rain. We have rain gear. We've got, he's wearing his short gloves, but the thing about these gloves is they are padded right here.
Both of them?
Yes.
The short gloves and
and the long gloves. Those are to protect your fingers. It gets real cold if you're riding when it's 30 degrees. Your fingers can really get cold.
And so these are for your size.
Yes.
Tiny little gloves. And now, what else do you put on? Let's see the whole gear. You've got a hat.
Well, like in Cycle Oregon, it was interesting. We went to the tank. Our friend said, get rid of those tank bikes. We got to the road bike. She said, let's do Cycle Oregon. I said, what's Cycle Oregon? And we went to the website, and 500 miles in 6 riding days, 2,000 riders. I said, when is that? And this was like early spring. She said, it's in September. I thought, yeah, it's a long ways off. Sure, let's do that. That sounds good. Now I don't have to face this for months. We can do that. Well, we got the rules. One of the rules is for Cycle Oregon, and anybody should, you wear a helmet. Now,
you have to wear a helmet. I don't know whether there's a helmet law in Oregon. I don't think on bikes.
On bikes, I don't think there is. Cycle Oregon, you got to wear a helmet.
It's very smart to wear a helmet. I had a big crash with our friends because we do what you call a pace line, and you get real close to each other and ride real close, right tire to tire. It's called drafting. And because the people that are following the person in front can move a lot faster, move a lot easier. And so
like
he was looking off
isn't
here
it?
and he hit your tire in the front, and then he fell over and I rode right over him and I crashed and my head crashed, and if I hadn't had this on, it would have not been good.
Well, now, slip it on. Let's see this.
Sure.
And so it's a matching outfit here.
Yeah.
And the purpose is to be visible.
To be visible, yeah.
Oh, I see. So next time you see a bike rider with a helmet, you just be real grateful that they are safety conscious. Now you've got other safety features.
Well,
let's see these glasses.
This is extremely safety feature. It's a rear view mirror. And you can just a little tilt of your head and you can see traffic behind you, other bikers, but particularly cars. When you're riding, you often hear somebody shouting, car back, or you can see them and you let each other know what's happening just for safety. And because on Cycle Oregon, you're out on the public roads and traffic is a major factor. They try to pick roads that are off and with good shoulders, but when you do 500 miles in 6 days, you're going to have some situations that aren't that Nice.
Every time we ride, we wear this because you have to see what's behind you. You have to see cars coming up behind you.
Well, we don't just do it for cycle organ. We're so used to it now. I wouldn't leave the house without the rearview mirror now. I just wouldn't. And then the other thing is I was going to show you is the clip-on shoes. There's a clip here that locks us into the pedals. Now, at first, that can be very disconcerting, and you can feel really trapped. And the only way you can get this shoe out once you're locked in is to kick it out this way. You can't lift up this way or this way.
You can't just step down.
And it's not like the old...
5 times I started to step down and I was locked in and I went bloop.
You're going to do that.
Yeah, you're going to do that.
I'm
you have to learn
interested
how to fall.
because this pedal, you know, isn't like a regular pedal. We'll give you a close-up of it, and that fits right into here.
It locks in. It has a lot of give, but it's locked in.
So it's sort of like a seatbelt.
But once
Security.
you've been 8 hours in the saddle on a day with these and hills and so forth, you get to where you use these muscles when you're lifting up. And you get twice as much efficiency out of your legs by being locked in. I've even gotten where I push forward and back sometimes. You're pushing forward, back, up and down, not just down.
And so if you're not locked in, you're just pedaling down.
You're lost
and
without
this way,
that,
you get pressure
Through the cycle.
through the up and the down, and it helps a lot as far as speed and going up hills, especially.
And saving your muscles, you can use different muscle
Yeah.
groups.
Different muscle groups. That means you aren't just in pain. I just learned that one of the reasons for square dancing was that after a whole day of doing pioneer walk across the country, their muscles were so sore. If they didn't do something like you used the other set of muscles, which they do. You know, in this bicycling, I got to ride one of those goofy new bikes, and I see them out on the highway with one big wheel here, and then the people sit back
The
like
recumbent,
Yeah,
That's
the
the word.
tricycle or the recumbent? Did it have 2 wheels or 3?
Well, I
Was it a
tried one of
tricycle?
each, and it's spin cycle. As Jason, kid that I saw grow up, he was loaning me all these props, and I guess that's the one that you're calling
A
recumbent.
recumbent?
Yeah.
Yeah.
That looks like a My Friday type of a bike. Yeah.
And then this one, the 3-wheeler, and I tried
yes.
that, and it was so, well, it was reminiscent of tricycle times.
Oh, yeah. There's a lot of bikes. There's a lot of recumbents on Cycle Oregon. There's a lot of tandem bikes, too.
Tandem meaning
Meaning that 2 people ride on the same bike.
bicycle built for 2, right?
Yeah.
Well, in the Cycle Oregon, it went right down Robertson Bridge Road and Azalea, which is the corner there in Merlin that I live near, and they weren't picking up. They come along and clean up everything that they have posted, but this was a little bit like, I think they were discarding it. This is another discard I found. Ha! One man had a flat tire.
A lot of flat tires.
He'd come from San Francisco to be in Cycle Oregon. And so they had people came along to give him some help if he needed it to change his tire. Well, when they were going to throw this in the back of the truck, I said, is that something I can have? Because I want to do a show about this. So that's a real Cycle Oregon poster and this. Now your shirt, what about, it
let's see, where's
says Cycle.
Cycle Oregon. It's well, the
okay. Go
Oregonian
get it.
newspaper, yeah, is a sponsor
Okay.
of the Cycle Oregon. So I had to get a Cycle Oregon shirt this year, so this is the one I got.
So it says Cycle Oregon 04.
Yeah.
And Rogue Valley, that's because,
Well, that's because we were down in that area first, and the local people volunteer a lot of the efforts to keep us going. 2,000 people traveling from campsite to campsite. It's like a big city. Semi-trucks are moving us, our support gear, and a lot of volunteers get up at 2 o'clock in the morning to come feed us breakfast. And so this one area sponsored this particular shirt from their local area there?
Well, out at Galice, I saw that Indian Mary Park was one of your,
Stops?
what do you call
Rest
it?
stop.
Overnight.
Oh, you mean overnight campsite?
Or a campsite.
Yeah, and then you went, that's not far from my house, downriver. You went across quite a bit of the Rogue River. You came
We
across
did.
it a couple, three times on your trip.
Yes, we did. Beautiful. I was so. One nice thing about cycling is you get on the back roads that you would never just get in your car and go and drive. And even if you did, you miss everything.
Yeah.
And when you're out there on the bicycle, you're just right in the middle of nature, and you don't miss a thing. It was just beautiful. The most beautiful part on this trip was going through the Applegate Valley. That was just beautiful.
Well, and here's a little one of those, say it
Recumbents.
again,
Recumbents.
recumbents. And they kind of look like somebody brought their chase lounge and they're just cruising.
I know.
And I snapped some pictures of different people. This was a sign that I think the yellow sign says
2,000 riders? Is that the
2,000
one?
riders, 2,000
Can't see with
cyclists.
these glasses.
yeah. And so it just alerts you a day or two ahead to be aware that, and they're going up Robertson Bridge Road, form single line. I was just having such a good time, but this is a story I don't know if you saw. There's a fire station on the corner, and a little fellow who's a homeschooler set up a lemonade stand. He and his grandma and grandpa came and set him up that you could buy lemonade or you could buy something else. And he came all the way from up Glendale to put this on. I'm in favor of kids.
Oh
Yes.
yeah, the whole community gets involved when Cycle Oregon goes through their community and their town.
So it's not just fun for people on the bike.
It's fun for everybody.
One of the most exciting moments, we're coming into this rest stop park for our lunch. We probably put on 40 miles that morning, coming in for our first lunch, or for our biggest rest stop. And the kids had lined up the street, and pretty soon they didn't, plan it, but pretty soon they were sticking their hands out, and so everybody's coming by like this. And you're clipped into your bike going fairly slow, and you're hanging out with one hand, and you're trying to high-five the kids. It was thrilling, but I know some people it's kind of awkward.
I didn't go through that
you
line.
catch
I was
somebody's
out.
coat with your
Yeah.
handlebar, and it'll pull you
Because
right
I could
into.
just see myself riding right into them.
Yeah, but it was worth it. You just have to be careful.
Yeah.
But the kids were just thrilled to come up and high-five us as we came by.
And
2,000 people.
They have entertainment. The town comes out and they do entertainment for us.
Well, that is so neat. Now,
Yeah.
I parked my car over there on my street, and there you go whizzing by.
Oh yeah, I remember
That's a sparse
that.
area. There's one
Yeah.
rider there. Sometimes they're clumped up, and sometimes
Yeah.
they're really spread out.
Right. I was so excited to see that they came right down Azalea Road and right down
Yeah.
in through. You went out across the Rogue River at between Glendale or Azalea.
We were just talking on the way over here.
That all runs together.
It runs together because we're just. There's
Yeah.
so many little towns and so many places we're going. We even almost forgot some of the camping places we were at. It's just. But
And by the end of the day-
they
go ahead.
made beautiful campsites for us that were just out in the campsites where before on Cycle Oregon we had in 2002 they would put us out in the middle of a cow field and we were like really close together, but these we got campgrounds, so we got to be spread out a little bit more, and it was beautiful.
Folks, let me tell you that we benefited from these people coming to Oregon, to Southern Oregon, because young people would volunteer to come and pick up your bedroll or your tent
yeah.
or whatever, and then take it to the next location. I talked to staffers from school. Their school was benefited by your generosity.
They are.
But at the same time, you benefited because you didn't have to carry all that gear.
We each get to have a 60-pound duffel bag, and so in one duffel bag we would put all of our clothes, And we each had duffel bags inside the duffel bag so that in the morning we could just pick out what we were going to wear that day. And then in our other duffel bag we had all the camping gear. And then we'd get up in the morning, we'd put everything in our duffel bag, and then these kids would come with their little ATVs, pile it up, and then take it to the semi-truck, and the semi-trucks would take it to the next camp.
It's great. We could knock our camp down in 10 minutes. Have these two 65-pound duffel bags. Kid come by with a pickup truck or an ATV, and we just throw them a couple bucks for each bag, which was the best money we ever spent. And that's about all you spend on Cycle Oregon. Everything's paid for. And they just hollered, it'll be on Semi 5. And then 70 miles later, we'd come into camp or whenever, and we'd go look up Semi Truck 5, and it was just spread out for, seemed like a quarter of a mile, and you go find your duffel bag, and another kid I had one kid that he just put one in each arm and shoved them over his shoulder. He was a big kid. I said, don't you have an ATV or something? No, I'm just carrying him. I said, okay, and it was quite a ways across camp, and he carried both those things over for us.
130 pounds.
Yeah, on his back.
And they're all
Tipped him
excited.
good.
They're real enthusiastic, you know. And we come into camp after riding all day, and we can barely talk, and they're all welcome, and they hug us. And you know, the best part of the day was when you get into camp and you could go take a shower, because they would have semi-trucks with showers, and you'd go in and you'd just wash all the sweat and dirt away, and you'd feel like a new person.
But you had some other showers here in Southern Oregon this year.
Oh, yeah.
Right?
No, we were very lucky.
No,
it was threatening, the whole, you're talking about with the weather?
Absolutely.
It was potentially a scary year this year, but I think we had one little drizzly shower one morning, and it was quite pleasant. And
we skirted all the way around all the
never had any major showers.
Oh,
We got very lucky.
Yeah.
Yeah, absolutely lucky.
Yeah.
Stopped back at Jason's and said, well, you know, I've got some rubber bands. That's what we used to use.
Rubber bands.
Yeah.
And folks, do you remember that the pant legs always got caught in the sprocket, we called it. Is that the right word?
That's right.
Yes.
And now look at these. I mean, they're glow in the dark. I don't have to use the string or the...
That's nice. So the rubber band.
Or the rubber
I think
band.
the rubber band fell down there somewhere.
Oh, well, I knew I brought it.
Yeah.
Oh, yeah. Those are a lifesaver. You have to have
Well,
with the long pants.
These have elastic on them, but he has some that don't.
Mine, I have to use those, yeah.
And if I wear my pants like that, we wear those.
Mm-hmm.
Okay, well, what about safety? Let's talk safety, because that's what I'm interested in.
They say when you take up cycling, I don't want to dissuade anybody from doing this, but it's not a matter of if you're going to fall, it's when you fall.
When you fall.
Yeah, and we've already talked about some minor little falls, but you do not want to be going 50 miles an hour down a hill in your underwear and fall. You just don't. You may not live through it. It's pretty serious. And it's kind of like Lance Armstrong said, we were watching Tour de France this year. He said, nobody wins a bike race on the downhill. You're in preservation mode at those times. We learned real quick, when we first started, we were bonsai on our mountain bikes. We on the hills.
Speed ahead.
Yeah, so it does. And we started getting these road bikes, and I sensed that they weren't as sturdy. They didn't have the traction. You don't lean into a corner hard. You don't power through a corner pedaling. You don't even see those guys on Tour de France pedaling through corners. They're staying up as straight as they can on those bikes, coasting and getting through. You have to learn the limits of these bikes, and they're very limited. So that's number one. You don't want to take a corner any too fast, then you want to come out of it, or you're in trouble right off the bat.
Well, I'm anxious to introduce you to a friend of mine who actually biked in the Olympics. Nathan down at the Glass Forge, a glass blowing company here in Grants Pass, was in the, when I found out, and all around the forge they have these gorgeous bikes of vintage bicycles. It's a fantastic hobby you folks are in. I wonder, what's it done for you as a couple, as a family?
Oh, yeah.
You're a family folk, aren't you?
We go with our children occasionally, and with our friends, I'm telling you, what a bonding experience with friends. When you do, we have ridden from Roseburg to Eugene, which is 85 miles each way, and we'll just take our bikes with a little tiny bit of clothes, and we will ride to Eugene and spend the night, and then get up in the morning and
Stay
ride
in
back.
a nice hotel and
yeah,
do the whole.
yeah. That is so bonding with our friends and with each other, because we get out on our bikes and we just enjoy the day, and it's just beautiful.
And you don't feel like biking for an hour. You get on a stationary bike, 20 minutes is a lot.
Oh,
you get on one of these bikes, an hour is nothing. It's nothing. You aren't even ready to quit. And it gives you a lot of time together. Riding with our kids, it's such an ego builder, because sometimes we can outride our kids now because they're not keeping up, and that makes you feel pretty good when your kids poop out before you do.
When you can ride farther than your son-in-law, that's pretty good.
Yeah, she's done that.
Take charge of your health. This is a Hans Deal book, and that's what really got you all started.
It did.
And there's going to be a program in Grants Pass, and some doctors are coming from Medford, but it's a program you folks have already been through. It's called CHIP, which is
Coronary Health Improvement Project.
Would you recommend it?
Oh, absolutely. Everybody should go to take it if they get a chance.
And you've been through it?
We've been to 3 of them. The last 2, we worked in more of a volunteer capacity.
And what about your eating and your resting and your, I mean, it's all working for you guys?
We had a lifestyle change, and we just changed our diet, and we started exercising, and we feel 30 years younger.
To ride an hour and or 100 miles, you've got to be in good shape. It encourages me, and I hope it's encouraged you folks too. Get out there and walk, like they say, or bike.
Sure.
Can I just say that this biking is not for young people? It's people our age and older. Most of the people were older.
How old is old?
I'm talking 79 years old. A 79-year-old man passed me going up a hill.
You heard it here on Better Life Television. Thanks for tuning in to Journeys in Journals. I'm Bernie Martin Beck saying bye for now. Keep in good health.